High-3. So if you work part-time in this whole thing, we mentioned High-3 is part of that retirement calculation. High-3 is still going to count. So we had this come up where, let's say you make 100,000. Okay, we talked about that 2-year period right there where you worked part-time. So you made your 100,000 was your annual pay. Because you only worked part-time though, you only made 50,000 for that year. So your annual salary is 100. That was assuming full pay, right? Full-time pay. But let's say you only worked 50% of the time. So you only actually earned 50,000 or 50% of that because you worked at 50% capacity, 20 hours a week. Your High-3 is still going to count at that 100,000 level, or 100,000 is still going to count towards your High-3. So all of this levels out in the end when they add that proration factor. But time, as I mentioned earlier, still counts for eligibility. And the High-3, based on the annual salary, will still count totally towards your High-3 calculation. Now, because your final annual salary gets affected by the proration factor, then your survivor benefits will also get affected by it. So your survivor will still, your surviving spouse, if you choose to elect, let's say your FERS, either the 50% or the 25% option, your surviving spouse will get 50% or 25% of the final amount after the proration factor. Okay, so they're not going to get 50% of the full amount. It's got to be after the proration factor is applied. They'll get 50 or 25% of that. And the FERS Supplement, if you go back and view our content on the FERS Supplement, you can see the FERS Supplement is based on two things: your age 62 Social Security benefit and the number of years you work in the FERS service. So when they add that proration factor at the end, I said all of your years count towards full-time credit when it comes to eligibility for retirement. But when the FERS Supplement comes in, they're going to use that proration factor for your years to determine what your final amount's going to be for the FERS Supplement. So you don't get full credit for the FERS Supplement. It's going to still be affected by the proration factor, which will lower your FERS Supplement amount. So pretty awesome stuff here when it comes to part-time work and part-time employment, how it affects your retirement. Thank you for watching the Federal Retirement Show. If you like this clip, make sure you subscribe, get notified whenever we have new content. We look forward to seeing you each and every week on the Federal Retirement Show.